Have you ever wondered what happens right before liftoff? If you're in a business, you're trying to grow sales, and you feel like you keep hitting the wall or an invisible ceiling, or you just don't know exactly who you're selling to. What if I told you that almost every single business, right before it takes off, has an accidental discovery? And I call it the accidental dream client. Now, here's the reality, is that in any business, whether you like it or not, your number one job to drive cash flow to the bottom line is to make more sales to a better client who has more money so that you can make more margins. Like, that's pretty much the formula. It doesn't matter if we're working with an offer wingman client who's trying to sell a $50,000 package, or somebody that's coming out of the gate and they're running a challenge and they're having $97, $297, or $497. The reality is that identifying who that dream client is so that you can get bigger profits, more enjoyable experiences, and more sales with those types of clients is not always this cookie cutter thing you find in a book. So let me walk you through a little bit of a blueprint here for you. And it'll take me 1 second. Now, we're going to call it the accidental dream client, but the fact of the matter is it's not by accident. We do a lot of inputs to find who this person is. So I'll give you a couple examples from my own businesses that eventually were successful, and I'll also share 1 or 2 examples of when I haven't been able to figure out who this best client is and the business did not have the margins it needed. So number 1, my first business that actually had a good acceleration and takeoff was my dental consulting and dental coaching business that I ran it for 13 years, sold a division of it. And the biggest breakthrough I had initially, so the business has to go through cycles, right? You got to make sales, right? And we've talked about this on past trainings where the blueprint of making money, and move this over here for a second, is you got to make offers to more people more often. And when we do that, a byproduct of it is we are going to make more money. Okay, so that's a formula we're running off of. Okay, so the accidental dream client does not happen unless we are making offers, we are making some sales, we're getting denied a lot. Like, you got to go through this process because it's going to be the process that helps us discover who these people are. It's going to expand our luck, so to speak, but we are actively putting the inputs in, okay? So this isn't luck by sitting at home meditating. This is luck by creating offers, getting better, learning from our data, learning from feedback. And sometimes that feedback comes in the form of who gives us a testimonial, who gets immediate results, who happily is looking to pay you more money, okay? And so that's where I start saying, look, here's where we start creating our own luck, is that we start looking at testimonials, enjoyable, profitable experiences with clients, customers, or patients, right? Because when I come into a business, one of the first things I'm going to do for them is I'm going to say, let's increase our prices. There's only so many ways to grow a business, right? You either increase the top of the pyramid and you increase the bottom of the pyramid. If you're not increasing both, then eventually on the bottom, you're going to run out of an audience to keep selling to. And at the top, some of your best clients are going to leave because you're not serving them better. Does that make sense? And so when we do that, it's just really simple formula is we look at this, we increase this, we're trying to increase this, and we're trying to increase this. Now, what I found is that a lot of guys are stuck right here and they're trying to find more solutions for the bottom of their funnel. What I always like doing first is say, hey, who is the best clients, patients, customers that you work with, that you love working with? And tell me about them. And what'll start happening is a pattern emerges very quickly. And I'll give you an example. So like when I was in the coaching business in dentistry, what I noticed was the best testimonials were coming from very specific types of dentists. And I'll give you 2 examples, right? Now, this doesn't mean they're going to be your best client, by the way. You may serve a different type of, if you're in dentistry, for example, you may serve a different type of personality. So for me, what I found, I'll move this up here a little bit, is I found that dental implant docs who were in a surrounding suburb or small town clicked all my boxes, right? They got results quickly. They were very enjoyable to deal with. They were down to earth. They executed. And what I found personally, this is me personally, is that a lot of the docs that were in the big cities, in the middle of whatever, were just a little more snooty and just expected to abdicate everything. And everyone was being abdicated to. I grew up in an all blue collar family, south side of Chicago, still live in the same neighborhoods. It's a great integrated community that has white collar, blue collar, black, white, everything in it. I don't do well with snooty. So you can't pay me enough to deal with snooty. So what we want to do is deal with down to earth people. And so that's not only the money, you have the money. Okay, these guys are willing to spend money, but then you got to have your E factors, right? Like, what are my emotional factors for the dream clients? Okay. And so that was a big thing for me. The other thing I just found was that doctors that were doing 800,000, and this is a little while ago, 800K to 1.2. And I would say today, even though, like, I would expand that up today, just because whatever, we're down the road a little bit, but some of the quickest strategies that those guys would employ would be our reactivation campaigns and our quick cash campaigns, and then also past presented treatment campaigns. And you can still do this today. And in every single business, by the way, if you look at the existing database and market it to it pretty out of the gate, create a new offer, market to it, if you're a consultant, coach, expert, or whatever, you're going to find that you're going to pay for your services immediately because they're going to make the money immediately. And so that was really powerful for us in dentistry, right? Now, I've shared this story before, but after I sold my division in my dentist profits days, I went and I started a supplement company. And again, I thought this would just be a fast breakthrough and I'd have liftoff. And the thing was with it was I was selling an anti-aging supplement, okay? Now, when we teach sales or creating offers, if you followed me at all, what you'll notice is I always talk about the offer, which has what they're avoiding, what are you solving for, and what's the payoff. And that's a little bit of a macro way of explaining it. But if we're not communicating what we're going to absolve, solve, eliminate, create, disappear, end, and I always like to equate it to emotional states. We're going to eliminate the worry. And because with like high blood pressure, for example, I'm going to give away the payoff here in a second, is we found in supplements that anti-aging was just so vanilla. It didn't move the needle. Like, oh, you're going to stop aging. That sounds so fluffy, doesn't it? There's no visceral response to it. There's nothing that gets you excited, right? And moves me away from something. But high blood pressure, if you're suffering and worried about high blood pressure and you're frustrated that every single thing that you've tried before just continues to fail, and you're terrified that one day your spouse, your loved ones are going to find you on the floor in the bathroom, do you see all those visceral images? Now that's what the pain is. That's where we're trying to run away from. And then what's the payoff? You're going to never have to worry again and enjoy the days you're spending with your grandchildren. When you go out to breakfast, lunch, dinner, you don't have to worry about, and I had all this copied before, but you can have peace of mind, confidence, that youthful feeling, rather than wondering what day your life's going to end. So when I was in supplements, though, what we were selling the anti-aging angle, and I started seeing testimonials come back that were for blood pressure. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And we had them for joint pain as well. But I was like, okay, let's test out a couple of these things. So you see what I'm doing? I'm accidentally discovering these things. It wasn't on my list prior to that. And so all of a sudden, guess what we're doing, guys? We're testing it out, and bam, something doubles in sales, doubles in revenue. Now, my friends over, I got to tell you one more story, and we'll wrap this up here in a second, is my friends over at Cellular Performance Institute, okay? My buddies Ed Clay, Scotty Nelson, Dedrick, they started a hospital down in Tijuana that predominantly was initially designed and created to help people with stage 3, stage 4, the C word. And over time, they found that they were sending people away who wanted to get stem cell therapy. And finally, like as time started going on, they're asking themselves, who could we refer people to? And then eventually the question that started coming up, which is a question I teach in my book, Time Collapsing, and Ed Clay is a big proponent of this. They all are actually, but I have a section in here called the freedom question, which I highly recommend you go through that exercise. And it's 3 core questions, but the first question is, wouldn't it be great if, like when you have a problem that you weren't trying to solve, wouldn't it be great if, and then you fill in whatever that wouldn't it be great if would look like. And so you write out everything you're trying to solve with the term, wouldn't it be great if? Wouldn't it be great if we had 30 sales a month at 10 grand a pop from this is who my dream client is. And they're down to earth, they have money, they're friendly and happy to pay, and they're going to be a long lifetime value of a client potentially. And so these are the types of things that you start doing with that. And so what happens is you can start exploring these things. Now, how do we start exploring these things? Number 1, create an ad, a one-line like pain point or dream client thing, put it out into the Facebook ecosphere, right? Invite them to a free workshop, invite them to a free lead magnet, invite them to a free demo, whatever it might be for your business. But what starts happening is you'll see your click-through rate, you'll see your cost per lead, you'll see what percentage of them start buying. And then all of a sudden, you have a new data set that you can start making better decisions out of, okay? And so that's how you test into that. Now you can test into it another way. You can test into it launching content, right? Launching content, see if people watch your content, and then start reaching out, give them a call to action, come to our website. For example, if you want to work with us, if you'd like more free trainings, if you'd like to be a part of our ecosystem, if you'd like me, Ed O'Keefe, to personally look over your shoulder and sell your big ticket items, just go to offerwingman.com. There's so many opportunities there to sell your books, to whatever it might be, to try your services. But I will tell you that if you came to me and we sat down, I'd ask you a bunch of questions, but a couple of the important questions that I would ask right away is, okay, tell me about your best 3 clients. Tell me about your best 5 clients. Tell me about your best 10 clients. Like just globally, what do you notice about them? That if we got 100 more of those people, 1,000 more of those people, you'd never have to worry about money ever again, or you'd be building the dream business, whatever that might be. Now, going back to Cellular Performance Institute, is what they started doing was they started stem cells. Now, in the beginning, I remember speaking to Ed and Scotty, and it's who are we going to target as a target market? And you have golfers with back pain, you have elderly with back pain, and you have all these different types of people with back pain. But what I found is that the road starts showing itself as long as you keep putting inputs and trying things and moving forward. My daughter Keegan, when she was sick, we were one of the first patients. And who else was in their ecosystem, right? Somebody close, that person who was close to them came and Eddie Bravo came and experienced stem cells because he's been doing jiu-jitsu for the last 30 years, one of the world's super high-level jiu-jitsu coach, athlete, and he's also coincidentally really good friends with Joe Rogan. Well, guess what? He then goes on Joe Rogan and publicly starts bragging about his experiences with Cellular Performance Institute. And now all of a sudden, they can't even they're adding 4 floors onto their hospital to experience or to allow the capacity, because they were just selling out like crazy. And I highly recommend them. Go visit them, by the way, cellularperformanceinstitute.com. Let them know I sent you. They're really a few of my best friends in the world, the nicest, most generous people in the world, who have the most cutting edge doctors on their staff and team. So I'm super excited to share this with you. But what I want to share with you, last thing there is, it appears accidental, right? Like when Ed Clay and I sat there, I think 7 or 8, 9 years ago when we were in Nashville, and he was telling me about this hospital he's going to create that is going to help solve the big C word. I just don't know if YouTube squelches my algorithms. So that's why I'm saying it that way. The vision was completely different to where the vision is, right? And so if you're sitting there and you're like, I need to have this all figured out, I'm going to tell you, you're going to fail right away. You do not have to have it all figured out. I posted another video about how assets come before income. Watch that video because it'll tell you the right assets that you need in your business in order to scale, in order to produce more income. Now, what I'm telling you here now is you may already have those assets. You may be able to add another one or two, but the clues are almost always right in front of you. There's a great, I don't know if this was part of a Bible study I was a part of, or if I was listening to someone like, yeah, I do know, it was Daniel Priestley was talking about it, how the biggest problem that most experts have and most service providers have that can really transform people's lives is that they have proximity. And proximity could be dangerous and detrimental when it's about your own greatness, okay? And what I mean by that is, so we sell proximity. We say, look, you got to put yourself in the room with people that are doing better than you. Does that make sense? So when we're selling mastermind or coaching or reason for mentorship, there's a true case that you need to be as close as you humanly possibly can be to the model and the mentor that can help you get the results. However, when you're already an achiever, you're already somebody who's taking a lot of action, you're already somebody who's setting goals, you're already somebody that's had past success, and now you're looking to create an offer and sell it, proximity hurts you. And what I mean by that is that when somebody climbs a mountain, okay, while going up the mountain, like just like any of the big peaks, right? While going up the mountain, this is the most important thing they've ever done. This is everything, every step, and all the training that's gone into play is so vital, is so vital. And what happens is they get to the top of the mountain and then they'll spend 15 minutes there. Now, most on Everest, they got to go right back down. But what happens is they start peering off into the distance and what else? What do they see? They see other peaks. And they're like, oh, wouldn't it be great to climb that peak? But they don't realize that underneath them is they've already got everything they need. Now, I'm not saying you have everything you need, but what I am saying is that when I work with experts or talk to clients personally, whether it's in the live group, live workshop, or if it's one-on-one, I can't think of an exception to this rule that every single one of them is leaving out what's possibly the most important aspects that's going to reach and impact more people for more money. And now, even if the money's not the big thing, but your ability to impact more people so that you can make as much, so that you can give as much and do as much if you need a reason to make more. And the reason is that they have a blind scotoma. Like it's just right in front of them. I think Tony Robbins used to talk about like, where's the salt? Where's the salt? But they can't see the salt right in front of them. Okay. And so challenge you today is do some zero-based thinking, do the freedom question. Wouldn't it be great if, and then ask yourself, if you list out your ideal client, customer, patient, whatever it might be for you, ideal partners, okay? You may have them already in your Facebook group, your database, your past relationships, that if we syndicate some content that solves their biggest problems, next thing you know, they're gonna be reaching out to you being like, man, I didn't even know you did that. Or, hey, Susie, I didn't know you knew so much about X. But make the content, solve their biggest pains and problems, make sure you focus it back on the payoff, and just be astounded at how quickly you can turn whatever struggles, whatever plateaus, whatever stalls, whatever you may want to call it, right? Slumps into the next accidental breakthrough that then you get to brag about and share and impact more people with. So I'm Ed O'Keefe. We'd love to see you over at offerwingman.com. Come to one of our free workshops virtually. And then if you believe we can help us, we'd love to have you come to one of our live events and get to meet you in person. So that's it. Have an amazing day. We'll talk to you soon.